has RFK Jr.'s approval changed recently?
Yeah, down it goes. What are we talking about here? Well, let's take a look. RFK's net approval rating in March, according to Quinnipiac, it was -11. You go to June, down we go to -15. And now data that's just out this week, -21 points. We've seen a drop of 10 points since March. The more RFK Jr. is implementing or trying to implicate his policies, the further down his net approval rating goes. And at this particular point, 21 points underwater is not a place you want to be.
No, and if you're sick, America is not a place you want to be. But while RFK Jr. is very successfully pursuing the anti-vax agenda that anyone who'd paid even a little bit of attention to him knew he'd be putting into effect, he's getting that. He's not maintaining his popularity. His popularity is, as Harry Enten put it, going down. It's going down, not up, which would be good. It's going down. The visuals really help. In fact, he's not only less popular than he used to be, he's one of the least popular members of the entire cabinet. Not the most unpopular, as you'll see in this screenshot, that somehow remains Pam Bondi. And that's sort of interesting when you think about, like, why would she be the least popular? Now, is it that like critics of the administration don't like the legal stuff she's doing, or because you can't really get that unpopular unless a significant number of Republicans also don't support you? And here's my theory. My theory is Republicans need a release valve for the contradiction inside of them that they wanted to get the Epstein accomplices, but Trump is stopping it. And so I think they're doing to Bondi what Marjorie Greene is doing to the White House, pretending that it's their fault, not Trump. Trump's still cool, Trump's great. It's just Bondi, or it's just like Wiles, or it's just the people around them or something. It's not Trump that's the problem. That would be my guess. But you can see there that there's some unpopular people in this administration. Hegseth is not far behind Bondi, by the way, but she is the least popular. Now, if you move over to RFK Jr. Individually, you can see that only 4% of Democrats approve of him, which is ironically about the share of the vote he would get in a primary. Meanwhile, 71% of Republicans approve of him. It's just strange how like this guy who was a Democrat up until like 13 months ago, he just signs up and he hates vaccines, he wants to ban medicine, and the Republicans immediately get on board. After decades, they love it now. JR, what do you think of RFK Jr.'s time in office thus far?
It's again, this is another illustration of just how crazy this is. The fact, what was it, 79%, 71% of these Republicans are still on board with him because they're being forced to. It's a bunch of fake folks. They don't say anything that they actually believe in. I always want to remind folks, when Donald Trump first got into the political game, they hated his ass. They said he's a failure. He fails at businesses. He doesn't know how to speak. He's a clown show. All this stuff, they went crazy on him. And that is until he captured the racism that was brewing within our country. And then once that was the case, they're like, oh, I guess we're on board no matter what. They know how much of a disaster this guy is. Of course they do. Bill Cassidy, Senator Bill Cassidy, a doctor, along with a few other doctors, I think not Blumenthal, but there was these Republicans talk about how much of a problem he was. Bill Cassidy does the same thing that you said Marjorie Taylor Greene was talking about. I mean, I trusted him because he told us he was gonna work with us, but now that he's not working with us and he's completely trying to dismantle our health system in the country, I think maybe Donald Trump should get some better advice. Bro, just say it. It's a disaster. It's your fault. You apologize for doing this, and now you should do something about reversing it. That's the one thing that we never, ever get. What are we gonna do about the reversal of this? Because as they keep just explaining it off as a one-off deal and then move on to the next scandal and chaotic day, we just forget about the last thing that this guy just did. He had hearings where he embarrassed himself. What's the point of those hearings if there's not now something afterwards where we adjudicate? We have to get rid of the guy who just embarrassed himself, because he did. He did. Yeah. He made himself look like a fool.
Yeah, and he did before he was voted in. Again, there's really no consequences for it. I mean, all of these, like so many of these people are utterly unqualified, but they got through. Pete Hegseth, no real qualifications. Remember, he was seen like screaming drunkenly about how we need to kill all the Muslims or whatever. There's no consequences. The only person that didn't get through, I think, was Matt Gaetz. Out of all of them. And honestly now, after all this time, I'm not even sure how much worse he would have been than Pam Bondi.
True.
There's really no consequences for incompetence, for willingly spreading misinformation. I mean, his approval is going down, but again, does it really matter to him? He's got no future with the Democratic Party, and Republicans seem incapable of realizing how unqualified he is and how he is making themselves and their families less safe. Well, we also know not only how he's been doing, but what he's looking to do. He's now launching an FDA review of the abortion pill. Him and FDA Commissioner Marty McCarry wrote a letter to 22 Republican attorneys general who had requested mifepristone's safety to be evaluated, saying the FDA would conduct, quote, its own review of the evidence, including real world outcomes and evidence relating to the safety and efficacy of the drug. My assumption would be they're gonna find a thing like the VAERS system, but for this. They're not gonna be able to rely on actual medical science and clinical trials to show that it's unhealthy. So they're gonna find anti-abortion activists or something, and they're gonna, fill the boards with people who don't believe women should have any control whatsoever on what happens to their bodies. That would be my guess based on the way they've approached vaccines thus far. They have one study right now that they're pushing because again, they want to stop this stuff from being available, not because it's unsafe, just because of their religion and their ideology. This study was conducted by the Ethics and Public Policy Center, which is a conservative think tank. It's not peer reviewed. It was published by the center on its website, not in a scientific journal. So it's like if I posted a blog, basically. It found that almost 11% of women experienced a serious adverse event to mifepristone, which is a little bit higher than the 0.5% rate that actual clinical double-blind, peer-reviewed, and journal published studies have found. And so if the actual science shows that it's safe, but some a-hole with a GoDaddy account shows that it's not, they're going with the a-hole as always. And so they've got a couple of years now, JR, to try to outlaw this stuff. And maybe, if the Democrats ever get back in charge, it's as simple as, like flipping the switch again, but maybe not. I don't know how much long-term damage they can do to people's right to access these medications.
Yeah, I think that's the plan. Yeah, to make sure that there's such a small window to do anything as far as reversing it. But let's keep remembering, bro, as they kept denying that they were coming for nationwide abortion bans and ways to get around it, and people pointed out this is one of those avenues. None of this is a surprise, man. And so if you're becoming aware of this because finally you're being affected by it, and before you were just saying it's just those fast ass women that we have to make sure they're not being irresponsible, as it hits your home and you see there's so many different layers of how they're coming for people's rights. In addition to the way that Pete Hegseth talked about women's rights, the way that JD Vance talked about women's rights, it's all the same kind of cabal of people that want to limit folks' rights. So, I mean, I guess you can keep waiting until it actually knocks on your door. Maybe you're 55, 60 years old and you're like, I'm not having any babies, I don't have to worry about this. But when it's your daughter and when it's your niece and when it's your grandkids and all that are affected by this, it'll be too late, bro. It'll be too late. But it's hard to watch people, come to these realizations and then they have no actions available to, take the next steps to push back. That's what we're here.
There's a lot of stuff that needs to be reversed. We need the most aggressive ass president ever to come in next to fix things. We'll see.